Yo, party people, what's good? It's Uncle Freezie in the spot on a random afternoon pop-up. Man, vibes and stuff. Got it popping. I'm going to ask from the rip, man, please, 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 please subscribe to the channel, man. Help us grow, man. Please, 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 man, if you like the content here, subscribe to the channel. If you like to talk, if you like that talk about culture, please subscribe to the channel. If you like that R&B conversation, please subscribe to the channel. Before we get into our conversation in earnest, I'm just going to play a joint by my guy. I'm looking for it now. Bear with me. I'm looking for it right now. It's a joint called Hood Goddess by the original DSJ.
Yeah. Yeah. Shorty, let me holler at you. Girl, it's the way you walk, command attention. It's all about your vibe, your true intention. I call you Hood Goddess. You're misunderstood, cause you're from the hood. From first eye contact, I knew I had to have that. Had a feeling you were something special. Didn't know if I could match that. You draw a crowd just to say hi. You make it happen, you stay fly. You big and everyone know. If I was a stock, you would raise mine. Even with a t-shirt and sweats on. Girl, you work it for me. Don't matter what they say about you. Baby, you're perfect. Girl, to me. It's the way you walk, command attention. It's all about your vibe, your true intention. I call you Hood Goddess. You're misunderstood, cause you're from the hood. That Dominican girl, East African queen, call you my cinnamon girl. Sweet like grandma cobbler. You were a #1 prospect. Even if you're raised in the projects, and you got the whole game on lock. Cops and robbers, they'll build an altar, you're so bomb. You shoot them down so calm. You don't be playing no games, but sexy in jerseys you throw on. I'm your soldier, I will march in line. You know it's your world. Let me hit you with that more in line. You go, girl, it's the way you walk, command attention. It's all about your vibe, your true intention. I call you Hood Goddess. You're misunderstood, cause you're from the hood.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Well, I would love to be the one that holds you, console you in times of grief, and listen when you're trying to speak. Your smile, it brightens up the darkest moods, and looking in your eyes is like gazing at the stars and moon. Just thinking about you, damn, I can hardly move. The depths of my feelings are hard to convey, like trying to catch fish at the edge of a bay, like I'm caught in an infinite wave, cause even when you do the simplest things,
Fellas, salute, man. Salute, salute, salute. How y'all this afternoon?
What up? What up?
Chilling,
yeah, bro. What's going on? How y'all feeling?
Chilling, man. Chilling, man. All-star panel in here to talk some R&B, some culture.
I can't hear you all.
Chips. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So should we just get straight to Wanye, or y'all want to talk about something else?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Okay. All right. DSJ, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Ty, you might have to go out and come back in, bro.
Okay. Okay. So y'all want to get straight to the Wanye thing or no?
Yeah, at some hey, try. Oh, let me see if we might have to text him or something like that. Start the smoke signals.
Okay. Okay, let me do that. While I do this thing with Try, let me ask you, do you want to get straight to the Wanye business or no?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, let's talk about it then. I'm gonna text Try real quick. But I'm gonna ask you how you feel about Wanye Morris.
Wanye, West Philly's Wanye.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So how you feeling about Wanye, man?
It's hard to gauge him just because of the fact that he's known for his group work. There's not a lot of like solo comparisons or guest features. Like the only one that he's really had of significance is the duet that he had with Brandy, Broken Hearted.
Right.
And of course, well, I guess to a degree, the duet that he had with Brian McKnight on Let It Snow, since no other Boys to Men singer was singing on that song.
That joint
So
was fire, though. I ain't gonna lie, though. That joint was fire, bro.
yeah, but I think as far as like Wane goes, Wane is probably one of the most I think I think he's rated perfectly. I think he's one of those guys that you recognize his voice for the distinction and for the ability, but you also recognize that he's
I still
a group
can't hear
member.
you.
You can't hear me? Okay.
Your headphones are racist. They don't want to be a part of this conversation because it's a black conversation, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not for sure. Hold on. Maybe it's me. Hold on.
Nah, because he can't hear me either. I'm gonna be quite upset if I find out that your volume is down and that's the reason you can't hear nothing. My speakers weren't plugged in.
Delano, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
I guess y'all can hear me, but I can't hear y'all.
Triborough recently bought a $7,500 work of art from Spike Lee.
Yeah, I don't know. Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
I don't know what's going on.
Test. Okay.
You all hear me, but I don't hear y'all. I don't know what's going on. It's weird.
Okay. Let's see. Bim. All right. Can y'all hear me now?
I still hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm having a thing. I'm gonna delete my cache and cookies, everybody, and see if that's me. Let me do that. All right. Okay. How about now, Try? Can you hear me?
I guess not.
Okay.
I still hear you though. So
yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna just text him real quick. While we work on the tech difficulty, everybody.
I don't hear nothing.
Oh, you don't hear? Oh, he don't hear nothing. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Let me do.
Are y'all going live on Twitch or on YouTube? Maybe I could jump on there.
Yeah, we're on
I don't
YouTube.
know.
Yeah, we on YouTube now because I'm trying to grow the YouTube subscribers. And so while we say that,
On
man,
YouTube.
please.
All right, so I'm gonna get on the YouTube chat and then just drop the link, and then maybe it'll work on there.
Okay, I got you. Yep.
let it snow. Let it snow. Outside is cold.
Yeah, y'all heard that, man. Please subscribe to the channel. Y'all getting that free R&B, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. This is gonna be a theme today, man. Please, y'all. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel. It's a theme today, man. So, but yeah, the guess what I listened to the other day? Just want to give you a
I hear you now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry
Perfect,
about that.
man. So first of all, I'm excited to have, or let me say this. First of all, if you're watching this channel for the first time and you're trying to figure out what vibes and stuff is, it's a vibe and stuff. And so, man, please subscribe to the channel. That's a theme today, man. Please subscribe. Hit that like button. Man, we're gonna talk about the culture. Don't matter if you black or white, whatever. If you enjoy the culture, this is the conversation for you, right? Because we're gonna talk music, lifestyle, relationships, fashion, everything that go with the cars, everything that go with, and the music that go along with. And as a matter of fact, guess who just jumped in behind the scenes? I gotta do an introduction, man. So I met this cat about 2 to 3 years ago, right? And he just jumped on, was rocking with us. And the more he talked, the more he sounded like me. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that brother was trying to be me. What I'm saying is when he jumped on, it was like my brother from another had showed up from out of nowhere. I ain't even gonna front. It was like my brother from another showed up from out of nowhere. I think he disappeared. There he is. Pow!
What's up, boys? Salute.
What up?
Salute.
What's going on, Coach? How you feeling?
Good, man. Living large.
Yeah. Oh, I'm living large for sure, bro.
Always.
Yeah, man. I'm living that 3x large for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm up there 4X.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey,
Depends on what part of China or Taiwan they come from.
yeah. Yeah, because that 6X may be a medium, bro.
Yeah, that's like yeah. Because 5X in China, is different than ours.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk to y'all a little bit about R&B and some culture, some relationship, but I wanted to start the conversation with how music impacts your life, and then how music impacts relationships, like not always the romantic ones, but maybe the friendly ones.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that, like kind of like how Triborough Gigolo and I kind of troll him a little bit about New York rap being maybe in 8th or 9th place all time compared to everywhere else around the country.
No, that's not true.
Yeah. So we started with Wanye, because I saw the Wanye thing on TikTok where Wanye was getting in his bag, and I was like, hey, no disrespect to Wanye, right? But when Wanye used to do those runs back in the 90s, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm hearing. In 2025, I'm like, yeah, what else you got? And I'm trying to figure out, is that me, or did the music scene change to a way where it's like what's new is now old, right? And what's old is now old. Is that where we are with it?
I think, well, for R&B, I think it's totally different now. The sound of it is not like the '90s. A lot of these artists that the younger generation feel like can sing. I gotta look at them like they crazy. I don't see it for a lot of them. Like back in the '90s when we had Boyz II Men and we had Jodeci and 112 and Tony Braxton, like you knew off the rip that they could sing. And I just think that with the society that we're living in now, and the values and what people deem music is very different than when I was growing up in the '80s and '90s, and I think for R&B it's very different compared to hip hop and all the other genres. So I don't, but I do think like the R&B purists that appreciate real R&B from back in the day, they want to hear songs that have bridges in it. They want to hear songs that have choruses and that mean something to them that they
And
can remember.
background
Not
vocals.
huh?
And background vocals.
And everything, background
Harmony.
vocals. When you hear a song, you want to know that's a Babyface record, and not have like 20 different producers on one album. And I think it's totally different now in this era.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that, and I hate to sound like an old hat as far as like, oh, these kids today kind of situation. Like our pops used to sound like to us, you kids today, But unfortunately or fortunately, music mirrors like the way society is now. So nowadays, these guys, there's things that tend to be a little more selfish. Like there's a lot of like people don't want to be in groups because they got to split the money 4 ways. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier to just do like a collab and have someone do a guest spot on your joint or something, And it seems like, I mean, let's face it, some of the musicians that came out in the, when you start back to the roots of R&B, I mean, before the blues stuff and the Little Richards and the Elvises and all of whatever that kind of stuff, when like Motown really got started, that's kind of like the birth of kind of a little bit of the modern era of R&B sound, like all the groups of the 80s and 90s, their influence was their mom and pops listening to Marvin Gaye, you know, the Temptations, and Diana Ross, and, you know, all the Stevie Wonders, and, you know, all the old stuff. So coming up, you know, they heard that stuff. So the groups like Boyz II Men and Jodeci and all that, that was their influences, you know, because they listened to that at the barbecue and stuff, you know, at the house parties. Or mom and pops would listen to them records in the house when they was younger. So today, you would think, at least I know I have two sons. One of them is into music, and he does like when I pop off some of the old school 90s R&B, like he loves it. And he kind of wants to do that, but he has a hard time finding other dudes that want to do it with him.
Right.
Everyone else is like, oh man, I gotta make my own beats. And, you know, I'm doing this, and you know, everyone's doing stuff like they want to do their own stuff, you know. So I just think it's a mirror of society, you know, today. I just think that it seems like that's what's affecting it today, you know.
Right.
And what I was saying before, like going back to, it's tough with Motown and stuff. I don't know why my camera keeps cutting out. That a lot of content, I mean, you're always going to sing about being in love with somebody, getting your heart broken. You know, like a lot of the content has been taken and rehashed. You know, there's only so many ways to sing a couple of R&B bars. I mean, so their creativity out there, I mean, they're having to make up words and slang. You know, you look up on the Urban Dictionary, half the terms they use nowadays, you know, like badunk-a-dunk, cake, you know, all the different names for booties, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's like new terms. It's like they have to create new words to like, it's the same thing with rap. Like they're running out of ways to rhyme. So they make up a word to rhyme, you know, to the word before that, you know. So it's in a long-winded way that I am. What I'm trying to say is, I just think it's such a product and a mirror of how, you know, society is today. You know, the kids, everyone wants the instant gratification. They don't know what it's like to struggle and hand your tape out to people out of your trunk. You know, hey, listen to this.
Right.
This is my group. You know, now they got YouTube and TikTok and all this stuff. You can get
SoundCloud.
Yeah, you get seen immediately. When people don't get noticed like that, people's attention spans like, nope, next. You know.
Yeah. I'm not going front, bro. I think I'm in love with the way that music is being dispensed. I love that part. I don't love what's being dispensed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's because today's consumers don't know what they want.
DSA,
You know how many times I hear these, okay, like for instance, reviews, right? I just checked out a review, somebody, a YN basically for the first time heard Fair Weather Friend by Johnny Gill.
Yeah.
He loved the record. It's a very 80s / early 90s feel. This is not a record that transcends in terms of sound.
Right.
But he loves this record.
Right.
And he says that he wishes that people made music like this. But then you'll turn around, and when somebody makes a record like that, man, ain't nobody trying to hear that old stuff. Well, what do you want?
Yep.
Do you want the old stuff, or do you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want a revamped version of this? Because at the end of the day, you got to make up your mind. You can't sit there and say you want one thing, then you get it, and it's like, nah, that ain't it.
I agree.
Yeah, with a friend,
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first heard
be there
Johnny
to
Gill's first
the end.
album, I found it to be cutting edge. Right, I found "Fair Weather Friend" to be cutting edge. I found "Rub You the Right Way" to be cutting
Love
edge.
du jour.
Lady du jour.
Yeah, Lady du jour. Oh, you know that's my favorite Johnny joint. I'm
Yeah,
gonna talk about Johnny later, but
it has like a little jazzy flow to that one.
yeah, it was it was called freestyle. Like it's a freestyle type song that was maybe rooted in New York in the 80s, but if you're not from New York, you don't really understand the freestyle element of like when you hear a song like try what's the Madonna song they used to play in the club all the time in the 80s.
Holiday,
Holiday,
Borderline, Lucky Star.
Borderline, Holiday, Borderline,
Get
and
into the groove.
Yeah, and it was like the songs that are light and airy. It wasn't overproduced. Like it didn't have the funk feel to it.
Right.
It was like a very light and oh my goodness, my thing. I might have to. My video is going crazy. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna just turn the camera off for a minute.
My cam keeps cutting out. Since I have to reset the browser. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. But yeah, man, my that Johnny Gill and such, bro, you're like, bro, it was so different. Like, I'll give you another example of a freestyle type song. The Lisa Stansfield song. Yeah, I remember when the Lisa Stansfield song hit the airways in like late 89, 90, and early 91. And when you heard it, you were like, been around the world and you like, yo, she can sing.
Yeah.
Right. But it wasn't just her singing though. It was that, it was that.
Well, that's something I was gonna
music.
Touch on.
She has soulful delivery.
She's from England, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. Like it's something about England. They seem to embrace the R&B culture better than we do in the US. Because it seems like some of the hottest like modern, especially female R&B singers are all from England.
Right.
Like white girls, like it's crazy. Like a lot of like they embrace that sound. It seems like, even like there's a lot of groups from England. I mean, if you think about that happened with that whole British invasion with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, all that happened. They love the old blues music, rhythm and blues from the US.
Right.
And they made it their own. That was their influences.
Right.
And it seems like, you were talking about earlier, all this transcends race and everything.
Right.
It seems like the Black community has like not embraced like that old school R&B sound. It seems like all the hot like R&B singers now are like, everyone's surprised. It's like, oh, this is a white dude, or whatever. Because a lot of times, like Teddy Swims, Alan Stone, like there's all these guys that really embrace it. Or it seems like, I don't know, like when you see all these little shorts, you see a lot of white singers really embrace that old R&B 90s sound more than, and it seems like the Black community's geared more towards, they're going all in on the hip hop.
Or whatever's hot, whatever is the newest, they stay whatever is stay on the edge of whatever is the newest. Even
or whatever the girls like back in the 90s, the girls were into deep saying, yeah, girl, I love you. And now they're like, I'm gonna smack you up, bitch. They like that now, or so. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
they into them bad boys. Now. I mean, girls will.
And they tell you that, man.
Yeah,
You soft.
Yeah,
They tell you soft.
I don't want you to hear about me laying me down and light candles. I want you to pin me against the wall.
You're right.
You know.
I want to be your fourth baby mama.
Yeah.
And that's the percent. And we know that's
we're
not the total
exaggerating
reality. That's the perception of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, what I was gonna mention too about the early orange, the Fair with a Friend, the Lady du Jour, the early Johnny Gill, and I know a lot of that is Babyface, right? And I felt like Babyface was cutting edge in a time. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Babyface outside of a certain era, right? I'm not a huge fan of Babyface outside of a certain era. Like if Babyface produced a song right now, I'm like, I ain't listening to that shit. But if Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis come out right now, I'll go buy it. You know what I'm saying? Sight unseen, right? That's just me, right? But I think the it's not just about the music. I think it's about the tenor of the music. Are you an artist singing a really good song, or are you a great artist, somebody I want to follow on social media and all that stuff, and you took and you put your heart and soul into a song, and the song may not be the greatest, but I feel you, right? Kind of like the Frank Ocean fans. Like it's a ton of Frank Ocean fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all his music ain't dope. Some of it is trash, but they feel Frank Ocean though. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, Coach? You see what I'm getting at? Like they feel the artist, like they feel the artist struggle. And then when they hear the music, they're like, oh man, I'm really feeling Frank Ocean. But that's my spin on it.
Yeah. I just think that now usually pop culture and all that stuff, a lot of stuff comes back around like full circle, like fashion.
Okay.
You know, like some of the styles, like bell bottoms came back for a minute, and all kinds of, and you got, I mean, all that stuff comes around, like, and even in music, there's been that. There are people that's, the thing is, what's a shame is what's popular gets pushed to the forefront, and that's what we see and hear. But there really are artists still respecting and doing R&B, but you just got to find it. You know what I'm saying? Now, which was what you were saying, the medium of how we find music now and how we can do, it's the greatest it's ever been. I mean, it's just great. But I got to look for it myself. Which I like doing. I like going in them rabbit holes and finding somebody.
Right.
I don't need some DJ to be like, listen to this guy. Now I can go find it myself.
Right.
And that's what's cool about Spotify and some of these, and even YouTube. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of them keeping track of what I'm looking at, but it's kind of nice because they suggest some stuff like that's that AI Spotify stuff, and some of the stuff on YouTube that they offer to me. I'm like, oh, okay. Now, some of them have been my favorite artists.
Sometimes it hit.
Yeah, it hits. You know what I'm saying? And I like that.
Right.
And that's something I've found, because now that there's a big push. More than, producers have always, like you're talking about Babyface, like producers have always been big and important. Now it seems like producers or songwriters are a lot of they're the main talent.
Yeah.
And then they just happen to find someone to be their vessel for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you look at some of the artists lately that became hot, popular, like out of nowhere, even though they were older, like when they did it, they were like producers first for a while, or wrote songs for other people, like Sia. You ever listen to her? Like she was writing stuff for everybody else, and Rihanna and stuff. And then she just started doing her own thing. And then even Chris Stapleton, you know, the country dude who's got a little R&B flair to him, you know, he wrote for other people for the longest time. And then he was like, you know, I'm gonna do my own joint. And that's what Joe did too.
Yeah, Joe's my guy.
Joe, I love him as an artist, man. He was doing stuff for other people first.
But hey, Coach, before I throw a grenade in the room, let me ask Triborough this. I want to ask Try this. Try, is that not how the industry should be? You remember, I don't know if you guys remember this or have learned this or had this shown to you or whatever, but you remember back in the days, the producer used to discover the great artist, and the producer would have all the music and the songs, and somebody that could sing, had the look, had a good work ethic, could dress, was responsible. Somebody would find that kind of like the dude that found Richie Valens. Anybody, y'all ever saw La Bamba?
Yeah, I saw La Bamba.
Yeah, I remember how the dude was like already working behind the scenes, and he discovered Richie Valens.
Right.
And he like, nah, your last name too long, bro. Your name Richie Valens. But my last name ain't Valens. Hey, bro, ain't nobody buying an album with what was Ricky Valenzuela? Ain't nobody buying a record with Valenzuela on it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they like cultivating this talent, discover this person, cultivate that person, and then turn them into this artist. But there's a machine behind the scenes, and what happened is, well, in my opinion, I think the cart got out before the horse. I think what I found is that for a while, maybe in the 2000s, the artists were out in front of the producers. Like, nah, son, that beat is whack. Nah, man, that's whack. I'm not singing that. That's trash. No, that's song. And then I think we're in a self-correction mode where the machine is getting back in front of the artist, where, you know what I'm saying, where you cultivate the artist or whatever. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was all of a sudden a reemergence of A&Rs and all that. So y'all remember how A&Rs went away? Remember that? Yeah. When everybody was indie and all of that? I wouldn't be surprised if A&R became a thing again, because there was a time. DSJ, what's the song? What's the next song that we always joke about?
Wifey. Oh, Wifey.
Yo, I hate that song. I hate that song. But that was that era of where the artist was like, no, we doing all this stuff ourselves, and y'all gonna like it because it's the only thing on the radio, right? And then all of a sudden, the reemergence of like Kanye's, Jay Dilla's, and then on the music side, all the great music producers post Dallas Austin, like it was like a influx of all these great musical producers, bro. And then they started turning out all these great songs, so many that it's like you can kind of lose your way in music. Coach, I'll tell you an artist that I like and I know y'all don't listen to, right? Okay. Of a dude that used to produce his own stuff, and then when he kind of gave way to others, he kind of started getting better. Yeah, anybody in here remember the artist Daughtry? Yes. He had the song Home.
I remember him. He was on American Idol.
He was on American Idol, yeah. Right. He had all these songs, man, and they were like good little joints. But then when he was like, okay, I'll listen to somebody else. And then you like, yo, his voice sound better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's singing about like he doing transcend. Now he's not a mega star, but if you like guys in that,
I mean, in heart, like the band he has now, he's actually gotten a little heavier. His sound, like that joint he did with Lizzie Hale from that band Hailstorm, that Separate Ways remake, that duet he does with her, that's fire,
bro, you feel me?
Yeah, that's fire.
You see what I'm going? Like when he had, bro, I wrote this song in 10th grade. I always want to, and you're like,
yeah, yeah.
You wrote that song in 10th grade and you 29, bro. You wrote that song and you were 15. You think that's gonna be a smash because it means something to you.
Yeah.
How about let a producer bring you a song? How about that?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Like there's a reason why some people are. I mean, it's not everyone's gonna be Prince.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's gonna be able to do it all. You know, I mean, Babyface can do it all. You know, like some guy like Pharrell. You know, there's guys that get in the studio. They can record some stuff themselves for themselves. They don't really have to have someone else do it. But they see something in somebody, you better take it. I'll be like, hell yeah, Babyface, you want to make me a joint? Hell yeah.
Bro,
I'll sing it.
You know what the classic example of that is? The classic example to that is the two groups that should have been probably in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they let their immaturity ruin their career path. Triborough, Soul for Real and Troop. Soul for Real and Troop started wanting to produce songs on their own joints instead of Silk. They started wanting to take more creative control, and then before you know it, they're one of those groups stuck in a certain stitch of time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially during the time when you were a slave to the radio.
Yep.
And the record company, like that's the only way you stuff can get out. Like it was, you couldn't really go off on it. Now you can even do it on your own now.
Right.
I mean, it still helps to have, but now the record companies have all the internet and social media people that can put all that stuff out for you and blow you up, you know. But
right.
I think that's to Coach's point. I think that's the problem because they're letting the internet dictate, you know, who's considered hot right now, and people are going along with that. You know, whatever social media puts out there, and they're looking at these reels and these clips and saying, oh well, you know, you know, Tommy Richmond is the new hottest thing, or Leon Thomas.
Right.
But will they be here in another 10, 15, 20 years? Whereas, you know, back in the day when you had a Babyface, he was bringing out artists, you know, Keith Sweat, like you mentioned, Prince. Prince was doing, you know, bringing out his own artists on his own label, and we don't have that now in this era. It's more like the old school producers like a Jermaine Dupri and a Dallas Austin trying to catch up to today's generation and you know, going out their way to do music with a lot of the newer artists, and that wasn't really happening, you know, back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I mean, like when Freezie was saying, like, if you look at a modern R&B, like who's hot right now, like as far as in pop music, like just like SZA, and you know, and like he said, Frank Ocean, but everyone else is like old and still in it, like Akon or Usher and Alicia Keys are still trying to like creep around. Neo, which to me, Neo is one of the most underrated. I mean, I feel Neo. I don't know what y'all think about him.
Yeah,
he's good.
I've always liked him, bro. anything he's come out with, because he's always embraced that kind of that old school R&B vibe, you know,
Right.
and the party vibe too. Like,
I think he's probably what Usher should have been
yeah,
if Usher wasn't a sellout.
like to me, Neo, he's the close. You know, a lot of people try to emulate, like, oh, who's the next Michael Jackson? You know, to me, Neo was the closest to like his kind of sound and vibe, and a modern version of his style. You know what I mean? Like, I think. I know that's blasphemous to compare people to Mike, but
Right. DSJ, you might be quiet, bro. What's going on?
I'm just listening to everybody's, comments. In terms of Neo, the reason that Neo's such a big name is the fact that he's able to jump into different pools of music. So you can be as pop, you can be a pop star on the same album that you could be an R&B sensation, and it doesn't feel like it feels authentic either way. And I think that that's an element that in today's market, I think that again, you'll never escape timeless music. You'll never escape feel good music.
mm-hmm.
And when it comes down to Neo is just that.
Yeah.
Agree.
And it's relatable. Like you know what I'm saying, as far as to be able to talk about heartbreak like like love songs. So sick, you know what I'm saying? To be able to turn around and talk about Champagne Life.
Classic. If you don't play that at your party, you just got a bunch of people standing around.
Yeah. And Closer always I just always like that joint, bro.
Yeah, then also to be able to have a pop sound, but a sexy R&B vibe with sexy love.
Yes.
Let me do this. So I got to do two things real quick, everybody. So I got to do the reset. So welcome to Vibes and Stuff. If this is your first time here, man, don't even think about it. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, man. Just listen. Please don't even, man, subscribe to the channel and go on about your life. Just if you need, just subscribe. Hit the like button if you feel like it. Right, you already here. We already got the view. You're already looking at me talk. Right, so the view already count. Right, man. Just please subscribe to the channel, man. Help us grow so that you can get more of because we legitimately on this panel have more music knowledge on this panel than all of the other R&B whatever podcast that you listen to or watch. Right. Whether it's in depth like the Triborough Gigolo, who is legitimately the Google of R&B, right? And whether it's the technical part with DSJ, who's an R&B artist on his own. His homeboy Quick Template is in the chat. That's my boy too. That's my dog right there too. Or if you go all the way back to the 70s, like me and Coach. We know all this music, not because we're smart, but because we absorbed it. We lived it. It's not like we're smarter than everybody else. We're just, older, and our parents played this music while we were young, and we were absorbing it vicariously through them. And then we carry those same habits through our life all the way up to today. So when we have these music conversations, we don't have it. We didn't go to college for this. We went to life for this. So when we talk about this stuff, we know when this music came out, what the world was like, what fashion was like, what kind of cars we were driving, who was present, all these things. When these songs came out, we understood the moment, like when these songs came out. So, man,
he tried to get females to this.
Them. Bim. Bim. And so I'm not saying that we're the best, but we do have a wealth of knowledge. Like nobody knows or lives this like the Triborough Gigolo, who has his own channel, the That Ain't Rap podcast. That I'm in the bushes all the time, just watching every now and then I'll say something. But even his panelists are so. I saw the two white guys talking the other day, breaking it down. I was like, yo, look at this. So yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Are we able to listen to something while we're here?
I'm not connected to X. It's YouTube only this time. Okay. So, but we will do X. Trust me, we're gonna do X. But here, yes. I'm just trying to help everybody, trying to help the channel grow, get the subscribers up, man. And the goal for this show is 100 views and 10 likes. If we can get 5 subscribers out of this, that'll be a win for us. Anything above that, I'm gonna take my shirt off and run up and down the street and do a backflip.
Okay, just for the record, we are talking about X the app, not X the party drug, because I don't want anybody talking about. They'll get confused. You just talked about taking off your shirt, running down the street, and the first thing I thought was, do not confuse this.
Some say the X makes the flex spectacular.
Yeah.
A Brooklyn rapper said something like that. I didn't want to use the other word, and then YouTube had me blacklisted again. So, so we finally made it off the blacklist. So I'm trying to keep it G-rated.
But now,
yeah,
like,
man.
You know, what I was going to bring up. I don't know if have you guys ever heard of these guys called the Isley Brothers?
No.
They're like from Australia, but they're like two brothers. They're white dudes. I say brothers. They're actual brothers. Man, it's something of, like I said, it seems like other countries are embracing the old school sound more than our own country does. Like these guys, they got this song called Rain, and the dude sings by himself on a mic, but the band's in the back, and it sounds like an old school like Motown song. Like, and the dude looks like Thor, but he sings like it's Otis Redding, bro. It's just like you won't believe it when you see it. Like I kind of want y'all to check it out maybe after. And like you can see that it feels good that there are people carrying the torch still. It is out there, everybody. You just gotta really look for it. I found them because I do go through the YouTube shorts sometimes, you know, and some of the ones I look for are people that can sing, you know, and I see some of the vocal coach things and the people that do runs, and I like looking at all that kind of stuff. And what that came up like it's a little clip, like on one of the reaction videos, and I couldn't believe when I started seeing this dude sing. I'm like, I gotta look into these guys. And man, a lot of their other stuff is more bluesy sounding, but they definitely have an R&B influence for sure. But that particular song, I've never heard a modern artist sound more like old school Motown sound like these guys. They even, because Motown had that, because they had, you know, Berry Gordy and the you know, they had that formula. It was a certain sound, a certain chord progressions, and it fit back that vibe, you know. So if any of you guys out there want to check it out, they're called the Isley Brothers, Tesky, and the song is called Rain, Rain. He did it in a live studio recording thing. He's like standing there with a mic hanging down like this. He just has that smoky, like, yeah, like that kind of like, oh man, when you hear it, you'd be like, what? It's good. But
I think, like you said, for the R&B artists overseas, you know, like an Adele, or Sam Smith. They
Right.
got to do so much more to get on urban radio. So
Right.
I don't expect to hear like an Adele song where she's like rapping or singing over a trap beat,
Right.
because that's not, you know, what they're sticking to traditional R&B.
Mhm.
And for them to get play on urban radio, they might have to do a collab with you know, the hottest trendy rapper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's happened in the past, but I think for like those overseas artists, they sticking to the traditional R&B because they can sing, they can actually sing, and they're not doing something that's trendy like our urban artists.
Right. Yep. Yeah,
I
no, I
think it's a
agree.
matter of the fact that they study the craft,
Right.
as
Yeah.
opposed to with us, we create it, so we take it for granted.
Yeah. It's
We
almost like, yeah, like you were saying, like a lot of people, they want to sound like themselves and they want to make up their own stuff, but they don't realize if they just go back and take in and do that research and let that old stuff influence you,
Yeah.
it'll bring out that something that's yours, but without you knowing it, you're gonna emulate some of that, sound.
Yeah. And some of it, what I find is things that we take for granted. Like there's a song by Eric B. and Rakim called What's on Your Mind? And they sampled a joint called Curious, right? And Rakim starts the song with I seen her on the subway on the way to Brooklyn. Hello, good looking. Is this seat tooken? On the A train, picking at her brain. I couldn't get a number. I couldn't get her name. Right. So, but in those bars, what we don't realize is, first of all, as soon as he says the subway, it already paints in your mind that we're in the big city.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as he says on the way to Brooklyn, right, you're trying to figure out, like, where is he coming from? Is he in Harlem? Is he in the Bronx? Where's he coming from? And then he says on the A train, right? Now, a lot of us have taken the A train. So some of us have even worked for the New York Transit Authority, where you work, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So he paints this picture of being in this place, right? But that's not what the song is about. It's not about you recognizing where he is. It's about him seeing a baddie that he can't pass up. Right? And so the fact that he is telling you the story about everything he tried with her, right? You're like, okay, this is my life right here. This is what I go through every day, right? But in the background, you hear something familiar. You hear the joint that your mom and pop maybe used to play. I'm curious about your loving. And you know what I'm saying? And so this thing is playing and it puts you all the way into this familiar spot where it's like everything about this song is familiar, right? Whether it's the music itself, the artists that you heard on other joints and you know who they are, whether it's about the moment they're talking about in this moment, or it's about the experience of you seeing a girl that you want to holler at, right? And to me, the essence of that is what's missing from things today. And Tryber, I'm gonna wrap it up, but I'm gonna get to the point. Try, I'm gonna get to the point. I'm gonna get to it.
I'm waiting. I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah. So the point to this is our society is so different because now we live, whether people realize it or not, we live in a very isolated society, right? Whether it's because of things that happen out on the streets, whether it's an international pandemic, regardless whether you work from home, regardless what it is, we don't socialize and be in the spots like we used to. Now, when we talk about our experiences, we're talking about isolated experiences and we're not talking about being out around each other and experiencing these things and speaking to our environment like all these things happening.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, like right now we having this conversation instead of us being at the barbershop or, you know, out waiting for a sandwich or a slice, we in line talking about this or something. We're here in this. I mean, I'm grateful that we have this platform. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what's cool about all of us who are not in our 20s anymore, or 30s or 40s. But yeah, we adapted and embraced this. I'm all for it. We talk about this during our basketball stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's easy for guys like Freezie and I and DSJ, you know, us old heads be like, oh, what happened to their defense and the old school basketball? Like,
right.
Look, man, the game's changed. Athletes change. You got to adapt or die, just like nature.
Adapt or die.
You know, same thing with music. You got to adapt. Like if you still holding on to some old stuff and old ideas, you can get passed up. But there's a way to do and embrace the old stuff, like you were just saying. Like people forgot about. Like we didn't forget the Isley Brothers.
Nah.
But a lot of people did. But then all of a sudden, a bunch of hot rappers started sampling a lot of them old school Isley Brothers. Like, man, what's that song?
The Crossroads.
Oh yeah.
The Crossroads. Oh
man, that's between this. That's between the sheets. You know, on the big
Ice Cube. It was a good day.
Too, yeah. So I was like, man, I gotta go back and listen to Isley Brothers again. I like because it made me appreciate them again more because I started listening to some modern hip hop.
Let me ask you. Let me cut you off, Coach. I gotta cut you and DSJ because I already know DSJ get ready to fly off the handle, and I'm gonna try to prevent that. Right? Which Isley Brothers do you prefer?
Oh boy.
Do you prefer the soul funk Isley Brothers?
Yep.
Or the romantic R&B Isley Brothers?
Oh.
You like Twist and Shout? You like Fight the Power?
I do, but
I prefer the romantic.
Yeah, I'm just an old school romantic, bro. I just love them.
My favorite track.
Them loved ones, man. Get me.
Voyage to Atlantis.
Okay. To me, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know I'm gonna throw a rock in everybody's shoe. I think they whack.
Wow.
What? See,
you think the group is whack or just?
Why do you do this?
Bro, the only joint I like from them is Spend the Night, Sessoir Tonight.
Come on, man.
How can you say that when they got living in the gentle breeze, blowing through my mouth, is you?
Yeah.
They also did Who's That Lady? Who's That Lady?
Yeah.
So what?
Man.
So what? They all right.
Making love between the sheets.
They all right.
Nah,
we gotta relax, bro. Just because you do it for a long time don't mean you do it right.
Ooh, baby.
Nah, that's a fire joint.
Come on, man.
Yo, name a fire joint from the eyes. Name a fire joint from the Isleys, and nah, bro.
We
just did like 5 of them.
Between the Sheets? You don't like that one?
Between the Sheets, I like Between the Sheets.
Footsteps in the Dark.
They've been out for 60 years. They got
Footsteps in the Dark, bro. Come on, man. For the love of
even your girl liked it so much that she wanted to redo At Your Best. You Are Love.
Right, Aaliyah.
I think she did it better.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I think she did it better, bro.
I think she danced to it better.
So they've been out 60 years, right? They've been out, they came out before the Temptations, right? Like if you saw the Temptations movie, remember when you saw the Temptations movie, that song that they were singing at the very beginning, right? That was a Isley Brothers song, bro.
Right.
That song Shout, that's a Isley Brothers joint, bro.
And I didn't even know that because I heard the Beatles version before this.
Yeah. And Love the One You're With.
Yep.
Stills and Nash. They
Bro,
do a version of it too.
I'm telling you, the Isley Brothers will record. I think they started recording in 1958. I think that's when they started recording, bro.
I mean, so you saying even their funk stuff you don't like? The It's Your Thing? You don't even like
No,
that?
I don't.
It's
I don't
your
like.
thing.
I just don't like that dude
Do
voice,
what you
bro.
won't do. Come on, man.
I just don't like his voice, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like if you hand to the man, if you ask me one group is going to be crowned the greatest of all time and the other one is going to be cast off the planet and I don't care where they go, between Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isleys, I know the Isleys got more music, bro. I know that. I know Earth, Wind, and Fire had a very meteoric and short for an iconic group prime, right? So it's probably from 75 to like 82, maybe for Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? And it's short when you're talking about iconic greats of all time, right? Like their prime is maybe shorter than New Edition, and I get it.
Oh man, that's not fair.
Right? But I love Earth, Wind, and Fire over the Isleys, who have been doing it for, and so it's 2000. So in 3 years,
I like Earth, Wind, and Fire better too, but
in 3 years, in 3 years, bro, they would have been doing it for 70 years. And I still think they only got 2 hits.
2 hits.
But 70 years, you got to think of like, look how many artists have sampled from them in other genres and kept them relevant. Like that. That's how I knew a lot of their songs, from listening to Aaliyah do At Your Best and Ice Cube sample for It Was a Good Day and so many other artists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it kept them relevant. And then what Ron Isley did, reinventing himself as Mr. Biggs and getting the hits from R. Kelly and and other people. It's like a second life for him.
Was it Jasper Isley or Jasper Isley? That entity too. All of those.
Right.
Like
all of those.
Like you don't like Groove With You? Groove With You.
It's all right.
Oh, come on, man. Hello, It's Me. Bro,
I just don't like that dude voice, bro. It ain't like
what.
So it's not a matter of the group is bad. It's just a matter of preference.
You don't like Mr. Big,
bro. I'm saying, bro, he aight, bro. They a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, bro. That's it.
So you didn't like that thing he did with R. Kelly?
They're all right. I'm not saying, bro.
Contagious?
They're not Cool in the Gang, bro.
Even Cool in the Gang had a shelf life though. After like 85, 86, they fell off.
Yeah, but they had been out since the 60s though. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When I'm not saying that that a group can't be better than the Isleys just because of longevity. What I'm saying is, I just think they corny.
Like Cool in the Gang died off. Like that was another version. That's a different kind of. It used to be them groups where everyone's played the instruments and sang. You know what I'm saying? Like that died off with them too. With Cool in the Gang. Like after that, when the groups came out to sing, that's all they were. They were just singing. There was no one playing music anymore.
When the 8-track recorder came out, bro, that was it for them big bands, bro. You didn't need 1,000 dudes in the studio no more.
Mm.
And then you ain't got to split all them royalties, bro. I'm
You're
telling
right.
you, that was part of it too. I mean,
Right.
The gang, you got to split that about 6, 7, 8 ways.
Yeah, and the thing is, and one of the things about Kool and the Gang that people don't notice, and the same thing with the Grateful Dead is they can make a bunch of money on album sales and split that money a certain way, or they can go tour and sell out everywhere they go.
Oh yeah,
right. And Kool and the Gang, just like the Grateful Dead, was like, do we make a studio album and then fight over the whatever, or do we just stay on the bus? Yeah. Right. And groups like that just decided to Earth, Wind, and Fire. Philip Bailey started easing further and further away, like doing singles and duets and stuff with other people, to the point where they just stopped their creative energy, so to speak. Right. But Kool and the Gang was just like, yo, we can legit tell people today that we performing tomorrow in Scranton, PA, and the whole venue will be sold out with less than 24 hours notice. So do we go in the studio and pay 1,000 people? And so off the album, we'll get $88,000 a piece for doing a studio album over the course. We'll get $88,000 over the course of a year, when we can do 3 shows and everybody getting 88,000.
Yeah, I remember that's when 20 years ago, I saw, it might have been longer than that, but I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire and Tower of Power.
Yep.
In concert. Yep. It was like a festival or something.
Yeah.
I think it was good.
Bro, did they have Lenny Williams with them? No. Tower of Power? Probably so, because they probably because Tower of Power ain't that. Well, there's something, but they're not it without.
Oh no, right. No, he was there.
Yeah, probably dressed like a. He a real estate mogul, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to put a rock in you and DSJ's shoe. I'm just saying the Isley Brothers is whack.
I've never heard you say that. I always thought that was like one of your favorite, groups or songs. So this is like all surprising to me that you're saying this about. Unless you're trolling this, I think you're trolling this.
I think it's trolling.
Yeah.
Okay, so what singing about the Isley Brothers impresses y'all?
The music, the singing. I mean,
the singing part, not the music, the singing.
Mm-hmm. They were just great.
I
don't think nobody sounds like Ron Isley. Ron Isley has his own voice. Like when you hear him, that's Ron Isley.
He's known for that little falsetto kind of.
Yeah, I just want to say his falsetto.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Bro, whatever.
No, but
la-di-da, la-di-da.
Yeah.
You just mad because you can't do that, bro.
Who can do that? Like nobody does that. Like Ron.
Like that's him. That's his little trademark. Just
but
like
this is
like Cisco always does this.
How you know I'm not trolling is every conversation we have doesn't it always come back? DSJ, doesn't all of our conversations with me always come back to the singing?
Yeah.
It always come back to the singing, right? Doesn't it always come back to the singing with me?
Yeah.
And if I tell you I don't like the way somebody sing, I'm just not off the plantation, bro. The history of all the conversations with me always comes back to the singing. So when I point out that I don't like the way a person sing, bro, I'm not just making this up for the sake of the conversation. It's some deep-rooted stuff there that it's like me and Keith Sweat, bro. I don't care how many great albums Keith Sweat make, bro. You're not going to tell me he's a great singer. I don't care how many great albums he made, bro.
Like Keith Sweat has his own distinct sound, but he does sound like a nasally cricket.
Keith Sweat would sound like he got a permanent cold.
Right. Permaflu. Right. Yeah, no, I get him.
I need to clear out my nose.
Who can love you like me? Nobody. Y'all let that out of the studio, bro.
That's a classic record. What do you mean?
I know.
That is a
I
classic
know.
ballad. What are you talking about?
It is
No, he's got a lot of fire joints. I ain't gonna lie, but man,
but
yeah,
I just
but the
wish it was
point
just covers. I wish he just wrote it for everybody else.
yeah, exactly. Like
Wow.
just be Quincy Jones.
Yes, please.
The dude.
like like what were they think like when he did LSG? Like, bro, Levert and Johnny carried that mix.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing I'm saying about the Isleys though, bro, why would I troll you by telling you my truth? Right?
I never heard you say that you didn't like them. I always thought that that was like one of your favorite groups.
I mean, I knew you like Earth, Wind, and Fire like better, but
Bro,
I didn't
I
think
love
you
Earth, Wind,
dislike Ronald Isley like that.
Yo, Dedication, bro. When I heard Dedication when I was a little boy, and then when I heard the Yo-Yo joint, I never put them two together. And then I read the album, I was like, that's why I love this song. Because Dedication, bro, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Dedication, when you hear them live, bro, it's like it should be in the Library of Congress, bro. They should build a shrine to that song, bro. The bass line to Dedication, bro. Man, bro, the bass line to what's my guy? Not Verdine, the other dude that played bass, not the lead guitarist, but the other dude that'll step front every now and then be playing.
The dude with the, I mean, I hate to say it, he got that.
He wound up going bald.
Really
Not the trumpet player, but the dude that
he's got like that wavy hair.
Oh, that's Verdine. Yeah, that's Maurice White brother. I'm talking about the other dude, the dude that had all the hair in the 70s. He went bald later on. Y'all know the dude on the bass guitar. Well, anyway, when you hear Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Nile Rodgers. No, that's
she.
Yeah.
Bro, Earth, Wind, and Fire is that's why when I even compared them to the Isley Brothers, I'm like, what are we doing out here, bro? It's like Harold Miner and Michael Jordan comparing these two, bro.
You know, you got to check out them Tiny Desk concerts. You ever see them?
Yes, yeah.
Like that's how I'd be finding some artists too.
Yeah.
And you know who's good, man? I'm starting to feel her the more I listen to her stuff. Because I saw her on that Tiny Desk concert. Is Will Smith's girl, bro. That Willow Smith.
Oh, Willow, yeah.
Bro, that girl can, man, she's talented, bro.
Right.
Like she's doing some, I mean, you can say what you want about her parents, but that girl, she got some talent, bro. Like she's singing about some like intelligent stuff and like like Nubian queen vibes, you know what I'm saying? Like she's carrying that kind of like mantle and vibe. I was surprised. I was listening, like, man, and like her band is like
she gonna knit you a hat. She gonna knit you a hat after this.
Hey, whatever. I'll wear it. Because that band is fire. Right. She got this bass player that's like, she's a female bass player. One of the baddest bass players I've ever heard. They're good. They've got a good band. See, I'm a sucker for a good, I like a lot, like something we've gotten away from, you know, R&B, like live music, man, like live instruments.
Right.
Like the one band that tried to do it a while back, and they sounded good. They just didn't get super popular. It was Mint Condition. Remember them?
Yeah.
Pretty Brown Eyes or whatever. What Kind of Man? You know, they were like a full band, but no one really did it. Like since then.
Wait. Are you talking about Mint Condition?
Yeah.
And
another one of those preferences. You don't like.
Here we go. Now you know his voice can be.
Here we go. What's the group that did the song? Here we go.
Portrait.
Yeah, yo, you ever heard their first album?
It was good. I got it. It was good.
Bro, a lot of groups. There were a lot of groups that came out the same time as Mint Condition, and I think Mint Condition had 3 great culture setting songs But then when you listen to the rest of the album, you're like, what the?
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah.
It's like the Roots without a rapper is like Mint Condition to me. It's like listening to the Roots without somebody rapping.
And the Roots would still be good without no rappers. They still a great band.
Yeah.
I never see. That's the thing. I'm saying
that
they're good.
When they became the Tonight Show band, and then now they're like, you know, they ain't doing nothing.
Bro, but Mint Condition's out. They all right.
Well, there's a band that came out you probably never heard of.
I would take Brownstone over them, by the way.
They were called Dakota Moon. I actually wrote a song that their producer, they bought from me a long time ago. I used to stay in Atlanta. There's a song called "Sing You to Sleep" that I wrote. It was on their album.
Yeah, you did tell me about that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before.
I used to get a check in the mail for like 8 cents, 12 cents.
At least you would get checks, bro. Get money.
Now I get like Spotify gets these ones like I get I get emails for like the invoice, 3 cents, 5 cents. You know, I don't even.
I would take Coach. I would take In Touch over Mint Condition.
Crazy.
Yeah, you remember In Touch?
Crazy. But one song?
I remember In Touch, but
y'all didn't. Oh, now
yeah, one big hit that they had. But Mint Condition got a couple of hits.
Mint Condition has mega hits. The only thing is when you get to the album, bro, you're like,
oh, they're not the album type, maybe.
I'm not gonna lie. As far as their best album to me is probably from the Mint Factory, the second one with "You Send Me Swinging" as their lead single.
Yeah.
Like, that one is probably like their absolute, like, from beginning to end album. I can listen to that one.
You didn't like the one with "Are You Free, Girl? Free to Be with Me"?
Is that meant to be mint? The first one?
The first one, yeah.
I liked it, but I liked from the Mint Factory better. I like both of them, but I think like even like the third one, I enjoyed it, but again, it was one of those things where the singles were the strongest point of the album, so there's not like a deep album cut that you can sit there and say, yeah, that one was fire too. Like,
I mean, they weren't Tony.
The first two was fire.
Now Tony. Come on, they're underrated.
Yeah,
I think they might be the greatest R&B band ever, in my opinion.
Like
they might be, and not just because I like Raphael Sadiq, because I think
Raphael Sadiq is fire.
And yeah, in a secret life, I think we're like the same type person, right? Like me, Raphael Sadiq, maybe Eric Benet, that type. We're all
music soul child.
Yeah, we're all like the same person in different universes or whatever. Like I'm kind of like I like that. That's me. That's my lane.
Like neo soul kind.
Yeah, like I like walking outside. I like walking outside barefoot, man, touching the ground, man. I like these connections to stuff and like communicating how I'm feeling where people can understand. Like, and I think Tony, Raphael Sadiq does that. Whereas some groups are, to me, Mint Condition is industrialized, very, very produced, like super sharp, on point, super clean and pristine, kind of like in that thing I was telling Triborough maybe 2 years ago, like the difference between Why I Like Guy versus Blackstreet, where Blackstreet is pristine, where it's like, hey, this is where you do your riff, cut that riff off right here. But you ain't gonna tell that shit to Aaron. You ain't gonna tell Aaron Aaron Hall what to do, bro. you ain't gonna do that to Aaron Hall, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so,
but Blackstreet did that Destiny's Child thing. They're just
yeah,
like it ain't the original member. You know what I'm saying? When you two dudes leave and then the other no, two different people, you know,
right.
and they weren't together long enough for me to be considered like. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the older Blackstreet. I mean,
Right.
the one with No Diggity was all right. I was fire, but
Right.
the first Blackstreet was more the romantic, soulful one.
Yeah.
The other one was kind of the more, I think, more Teddy Riley's lane.
Yeah. They had a boss. That's what I was gonna say. See,
Yeah.
Blackstreet had a boss. Guy was a group, right? And see, Tony was a group that had a fake boss, but every time the fake boss flexed, Tony was whack. And then he would be like, no, let's go back to the group thing. Right. Whereas Mint Condition was a industrial, was a band. But every time I hear them, I'm like, do I prefer Mint Condition or Ready for the World? Another group from the same area, same sensibilities, lead singer kind of in that same lane. And it's like, do you enjoy Digital Display? Right? Do you like Oh Sheila? They had a couple other joints, man. They have one I really like, the slow joint where everybody
love you down.
Yeah. Where you can connect with him like a young dude with a older girlfriend, and all the older guys is trying to steal his girlfriend from him because they don't think that young boy can handle that older girl. And he is singing in a song like, he says in the song, I can do what those older guys can do. He actually says that in the song, and it makes you connect with him, right? Is these things, and then the whole time that he's singing, right? The background vocals are singing in a way that they're kind of begging, but not in a James Brown way or a Keith Sweat way, but kind of like a yearning type beg, like the Gap Band type way. And I know people don't understand the difference. Like, what's the difference between us saying, please give me a chance in like a El DeBarge way, and a please, girl, please. You know what I'm saying? There is a difference, right? One, it's about the sensibility. One is hardcore, and the other one is like, all I need is a chance. You give me this chance, and I can prove this thing to you. Right. It's the reason why, like, when we talk about like the music and the singing, like when we talk about the Isleys, like the Isleys are a group that feel like if they walk in a spot, they could take your girl just because they got nice hair and money. They don't have to have game. Right. Like y'all told me, did y'all not tell me that Ron Isley reinvented himself into Mr. Big later on, right? That means that's right. Because he was one way the whole time. And then when it stopped working, he transformed himself into something different. Right. But when you talk about the Mint Conditions, I'll give them credit for it. When you talk about the Tonys, right? Like the first time you heard Tony, you're like, yo, these dudes are like my little brother trying to date. It's like the 10th grader trying to date the senior. Right. If anybody ever been in that situation, I have not, right? Yeah. I've never dated a senior before. I didn't have the game to do it, right? But I've seen it, like dudes like just keep hollering at a girl like, I can do what them 18-year-old boys can do. I'm 15, I can do what the 17-year-olds can do, right? And so that connects you to the music, because not only do they write about it, but you can hear it in their singing. And so that's one of the reasons why I just have a preference when it comes to.
But when you're 15 and you can sing and dance and you are ready to start a football team, you can do it.
Right.
I was lucky I could do that. It's like when I went down to Florida in 8th grade, I was this boy from New York, right? And I went to this country bumpkin town in Florida. And so a lot of them kids had trucks and were dipping. I hate to do stereotypes, but it was a lot of that.
Right.
And when I first came down, I came from a little bit of an urban culture. You know what I'm saying? I was well-rounded. I love sports and stuff. Like I didn't vibe with them kids that were locals. So when I started playing football and I liked hip hop and I liked to dance. I was break dancing back then a little bit. I moved into my dad didn't move down yet, so we were kind of broke. So we moved into the apartment complex in Lincoln. We had an area called Lincoln Park, which was, our little southern town's ghetto, more or less. So I had more in common with the black kids at school than the country white kids. So they embraced me. I used to go over, sleep over. Like I got my old friends' mamas still keep up with me on Facebook, check on me. Like they're just like you want something to eat, you want something to drink, they come. And that's why I know about all that whole life, like I know about, I hate to be the stereotype of it, making some Kool-Aid and having the Dixie cup, the frozen Kool-Aid in the Dixie cup, having the little selling stuff, when Sam's Club and Costco first started coming out, you buy the big box of candy bars and you sell them to everyone in the neighborhood. I've done all that, and I'm thankful for, that's what, and all the music and stuff. Like I'm blessed because my mom was always a huge Motown fan, so I already like R&B and that stuff too. But growing up on Long Island in New York, like I liked all those artists, like rap, when rap started coming out, with EPMD and Boogie Down Productions. All that stuff was like my vibe back then. So when I started doing that stuff down in Florida, that's when the 90s, late 80s, 90s R&B started coming out. And when you wanted to get the girls' attention, me and my friends used to come up with dance routines, for the girl. We go to their house and lip sync. I believe in love. What about us? You do all these songs, you're all singing. That's how you got girls back then, and now it's like you send them a couple emojis, yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's just a different time, man.
Yeah. Eggplant and hard eyes, yeah, that gets them every time.
Yeah, man. But now, like, remember, like the school dances and the circle would form. Like, you ready? Do the new
The
kid
opportunity
play.
to ask somebody to court a female. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, first you get their attention. You do the kid and play dance with your friend. The feet. I do the jump rope over my own leg. Then go back with it. Then all of a sudden, all the girls like, oh, look at him. And like when it's time to slow dance, you sweating your behind off. But I'm sorry, I'm so sweaty. That's all right. But man, it's that's something. When those slow songs will come on, everyone knew it was time to start hunching. Which I don't know about hunching. Y'all remember that word?
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, but like, that's where like it was funny because even like the Mickey Mouse Club back then,
Yeah,
started like, because that's when like Justin Timberlake and all them were on there. They were singing all Jodeci and all that stuff, and all the girls in the crowd like going crazy. It's fun. It was fun. Even Ryan Gosling, the actor, was on that. I remember seeing old clips. I was like, I didn't know you can sing like that. I don't know, man. It's just in the end, I like to think there might be like the latest group that kind of almost. I mean, they're considered older now too. Is like Drew Hill almost started a resurgence again, like when Drew Hill and 112. And they kind of almost caught some steam. They caught some.
That's why I'm saying mint condition is
But then, like they,
if you compare them to Drew Hill, right? You know, so I think they mint condition is You know,
Drew Hill's basically they copied Joe. They're like a Jodeci, really, the way they, you know, they got the chubby one that sings a little higher, and then you got Cisco's like KC, you know, then Jazz and JoJo are kind of like that guy, and then you got the real gravelly voice, you know, one.
Yeah.
And there's the other two that everyone forgets their names, you know. You hate to say that, but they were just as important. They held down that.
Now, Woody and Nokia. Matter of fact, what's funny is Woody has the sound like a little like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Nokia was like the connector of harmonies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So even though he won't be like the lead vocalist, like almost like Devontae or Mike Bivens, they're not gonna wow you with their voice, but they're gonna connect the songs to where it's like, okay, well, he can't sing because he's not just the face of the group or
He was like the
something
producer.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I just say one other thing about the reason why I think mint condition is a sausage biscuit? Just real quick. No disrespect to them.
I like sausage.
Yeah, I'm not saying sausage biscuits are bad. What I'm saying is I can't live in a world where I can see two groups come out at the same time and one group live forever in people's closet of memories, and then the other we romanticize as if they're the Jacksons. To me, to live in a world where Shy, Intro, and Mint Condition all come out at the same time, and then we forget about Shy and Intro, but we romanticize Stokely because we always see him, to me is unfair. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like when you think about how great a group Intro was, right? Think about this. Does Mint Condition have more songs than you like than Intro does? And then go back to the Intro catalog and think about all the songs that you like. And when you compare them, you may still like Intro. I mean, you may still like Mint Condition afterwards, right? But just to assume that Intro is, that Mint Condition is that group from that era that we should, hitch a wagon to or whatever, to me is like doing a disservice to the music. Like, I respect Intro and I respect Shy, right? I respect Mint Condition. I just don't think they're the flag bearer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
I don't think anybody ever looked at them as a flag bearer.
No, I was only bringing them up as far as I don't hold them on any kind of level to Shy or Silk or whoever else around that time. As far as R&B goes, I was only talking about them in comparison to the groups that actually all play their own instruments and sing.
Okay.
Like they were like the last of a dying breed of R&B that did that.
But I will tell you why Mint Condition is heralded so highly. Because everybody has been in that situation that they sung about and Quit Breaking My Heart, Pretty Brown Eyes. If this wasn't the words that you lived as a shorty, or when that song came out and you didn't reminisce about somebody that was back in the day, like, yeah, that's the one right there. And I know she like me, but she out here playing like she don't.
Right.
And the lyrics was like a living testament to everything that you wanted to say or everything that you felt. Almost like Chucky Booker in Games.
Right.
It's the living embodiment of what you went through, what you felt, what you thought. So, like with Mint Condition, they have those songs that stand those test of times. The same way where everybody's experienced an anniversary. So Tony will forever live in that. You know what I'm saying? No matter what great songs they've had between like Thinking of You, Still a Man, Slow Wine on the same album.
My ex-girlfriend is a hoe. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. It Never Rains in Southern California.
Yep.
Feels Good. Like they got all these hits, but the one that stands out the most, the signature song, Anniversary.
Yep.
I think sometimes situations and situationships are the reason why songs and groups get heralded so highly. I think about like After Seven, Can't Stop. It lives forever. It lives forever in the annals of R&B. There's so many other songs that they've came out with that are probably even better.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's those songs, like even in the heat of the moment. Like there's been a situation where it's like, I'm with this shorty, but I'm also with this other shorty on the side. Or I'm in a situation where, damn, I really like this shorty and she knows it, and there's a vibe between us, but I got somebody else.
Okay.
And I think sometimes these are the situations that where when we have these conversations about like singers, groups, and songs, why they're heralded so highly, they're so, you know what I'm saying, so easily talked about in terms of they're beyond the moment. Like they'll forever live in our memories because of the soundtrack to what we were going through.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I understand where, you know, you might not like Stokely's voice or you might not, you know what I'm saying, prefer his voice over somebody else's, they'll always have those songs that forever like
I'm not gonna
tell
say
the
I
story
don't.
of what you.
I mean, I just think they're car wash. That's what I think. I think they're clinical, and at the same time that they're clinical, they stick to their own sound so much that sometimes they get off the plantation, and I would prefer for them to stay in pocket. Right. That's just my thing with Mint Condition. Like when you get on their album, DSA, when you get on their album, bro, sometimes you're like, what are y'all talking about?
Right.
Right. And then these random solo, where did this random solo come from, dog?
I'm not gonna lie, I've skipped a couple tracks on Mint Condition albums.
Yeah, man.
Like I usually give
Yeah,
some like a few seconds, like I'll get back to that one.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'll give you a prime example, right? I don't know if everybody listens to a full Jodeci album or just stays with their slow cuts. Like their slow jams are absolutely fire, and then you get to their faster, more up tempo songs. Like, yeah, know what?
Yeah.
Skip.
How Do You Want is the only up tempo one, and that was with Tupac. That was pretty good.
And I honestly feel like they're faster, they're more up tempo songs. Like they didn't hit their groove until the show, The After Party, The Hotel. I think like the first two albums, the self-titled, and even Diary of a Mad Band. Like I could have done without those songs the same way I could have done without all that rapping that was on 12 Play from R. Kelly.
12 Play?
12 Play's rapping All those R. Kelly songs where he was rapping,
What back to
throws
the hood
them,
again? Back to
throws
the
them,
hood.
and packs them up. Those songs were bad. They were trash. I like the crotch on you. Who's bumping that today?
You don't like Back to the Hood again?
No, the Back to the Hood of things.
I know.
You could have
It's
took
not.
that and the Homie Lover Friend and threw all of that in the East River. I'm good
Homie
without
Lover
that.
Friend is.
That was
Yeah,
fire to me. I love that.
The remix is better, and when you hear it, you'll be like, "Damn it, DSJ, I hate you for even saying that."
But what's the shame is Back to the Hood again. That the background music's actually really good.
Yeah, the beat
That
is
one.
fire, but the moment you hear him rapping, it's like, "Oh man, please stop the song, stop the song. What's next?"
But the other 9 or 10 tracks are fire though, for sure.
Let's just get back to seems like you're ready or something like that. I don't want to.
And even Sadie is fire.
Yeah, Sadie was absolutely fire. But
that song that gets me every time. That one.
The moment he told me I like the crotch on you, I'm like, throw that away.
I like the crotch on you.
Get rid of that.
You know what's so funny? You can say something like that in a slow joint. Like he does it in a way where it sounds right. You know, get down between your legs. You know,
freak that body. Freak that body. You can kick that down the road like the rest of them.
When you do it in an up tempo joint, it don't sound the same.
It's horrible. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, who approved this? Barry Hankerson. Hey, you fired. Like, I don't even want to. Let's not have no more discussions. If you ain't make a whole album of seems like you're ready, your body's calling, the sex me's 12, like you ain't make a whole album of those.
Bump and grind.
Yeah, like I need an album of those. I wish sometimes that he just put all the remixes on the album and just nothing but slow jams.
I mean, he had a whole remix album with like some of his best remixes on there, but
yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
for 93, it was like he had a nice balance. Because I mean, that's how they were rhyming at that time. Everybody tried to sound like Das Effects. When you listen to Dario Mad Band and the way Dalvin was rapping, he was rapping like he was Das Effects.
Horrible.
You know? And I just felt like it was a nice balance of he had his slow jams, he was always embedded in hip hop, even with public announcements. So he had his hip hop joints. You know, I didn't look at him like he was a great rapper when he was on Soft Play, but that's how they were rapping at that point, you know?
I wish he didn't. I wish, if anything, hey, you can make a song. And see, here's why for me, I'm so critical of it. Because born into the 90s, he had the same balance of hip hop and R&B, where he would sing on the song and then have a rap verse. And the rap verse didn't take away from the song. It actually enhanced the song. It was like, okay, yeah, this is actually good. So when I'm hearing that he's going to make another R&B album, I'm thinking I'm going to get another Born into the 90s. He's going to sing on this and he's going to rap on it and get back to the singing. And it was like, nah, we're going to rap. And we're going to rap. And it's like, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Throw that, pack that up. Throw it away.
Just stay in the Bobby Brown rapping.
What I mean, he was. I don't. Kells was always. He was always rapping. I don't think he was always a great rapper. But I mean, some people liked it, some people didn't. But he wasn't like a great rapper.
No, he wasn't. But you can skate with that when you have great R&B songs.
Well, like when on My Prerogative album for Bobby Brown, he implemented raps in a couple of his songs. Like that's how you kind of expect the R&B guy to rap. It's like R. Kelly tried to give it more of a rapper vibe instead of an R&B dude just changing up the dynamic of the song with a little rapping part. And I'm not saying Bobby Brown's a good rapper at all, but he did his little cadence for those songs, and it fit those songs. It wasn't like something forced. Felt like, you know, it's not like Babyface is writing rap.
I mean, he did a whole album with a rapper. I mean, he was always around rappers. I think that's the problem also with music now with R&B. You got the R&B singers trying to rap, and then the rappers trying to sing.
Yeah, rappers don't need to try to sing. That's a bad thing.
You know,
There ain't many that can do that.
right?
Well, and plus, I mean, really, the best guy that does it or did it, he wasn't really much of a rapper because he did the auto tune stuff was T-Pain, but he didn't. I think he can do both.
Right.
Because when you hear him sing in his normal voice, he's fire. He can sing his butt off. But like when
I was going to crack a joke and say,
when Kanye or Lil Wayne or one of them guys try to sing, just shut up, man. Please don't sing. I don't know. Y'all might.
Yeah, I think the one of the things that we sleep on with Kells though is Kells was always the mad scientist experiment with everything. For instance, the song that got R. Kelly into our consciousness was not a soul song. It was Vibes.
Right.
Yep, Vibes. The first time I ever heard R. Kelly was I was in a club in Louisiana and I heard Vibes and I thought it was Aaron Hall because at the same time that song came out, remember Aaron Hall was everywhere.
Yeah.
Right, he had the slow song, the "I'm Missing You" joint. He had the joint on the Boomerang. I think it was on the Boomerang soundtrack. I think it was on Boomerang. The joint he did, it had Tammy Lucas in the background. You know what I'm talking about?
That was on the Juice soundtrack. I think it was the Juice soundtrack you talking about?
No, not "Don't Be Afraid." Not that one. The other one. He had another joint that came out after that. But that one too, though. I'm glad you brought that up because that one too. But Aaron Hall was everywhere, and then I heard Vibes. I was like, "Yo, Aaron got another one," and that was my club name, by the way, too. Aaron, man. They're like, "Hey, baby, my name Aaron." You know what I'm saying? And this is my homeboy Teddy.
I'm sorry. I when you said that was your nickname and you talking about Aaron Hall, I don't know why I thought you were gonna say that your nickname was the Nasty Man, and I was gonna just be like, why would you go around telling people that?
No, we too smooth for that, bro. We too smooth.
Aaron Hall's moniker was the Nasty Man, and my God, how do you pull women with that? Hey, I'm the Nasty Man. Ew, get away from me. Like that's immediately what I think when I hear somebody say that.
Are there any artists out there that can really do both well? Like Lauryn Hill is probably one of the only ones that can do both like really well.
I always like Queen Latifah.
Yeah, but her singing voice is she can carry a tune. You know
she can carry a tune, but she's not a singer.
Yeah, like, and now I know for sure there's artists out there nowadays, but they're just not popular.
I think Drake can definitely do it if he decided to do an R&B album. I think he could definitely.
I think
be successful at that.
I heard Fetty Wap sing before.
Oh wow, I never heard him sing.
He actually can sing. I'm like, this dude needs to sing some on his albums if he can sing like that. I don't know how real it was, but I was surprised I heard him sing.
Right. Now I think there are artists that can rap and that can sing. The only thing is, like DSJ said before, we say what we want, then when we get it, we were like, nah, we don't want that.
All right.
I did because there were a lot of artists that kind of blurred the lines a little bit, especially in the late 80s and 90s, trying to figure out what was dope. It was trying to figure out a vibe. And then sometimes we got it And then we were like, yo, this is dope. And then we would do the same exact thing just a day later, and people would be like, no, I don't like it. So,
I mean, I Ed Sheeran actually rap.
Yeah.
I know it's not the rapper we think of as being fire, but he does some pretty good stuff.
He was actually good at it. Like for his first early albums, like Plus and Multiply, like he was good at, but he doesn't do it no more like he used to.
Right? Yeah. Like Ed Sheeran has his lane that he's known for, and he tried to stray from it a little bit.
that dude looks like Simply Red, right? Did you talking about the dude that looked like Simply Red?
I guess. But and then like Post Malone, he's like crossing over a little bit right now.
Right.
He's actually doing country songs and everything. But no, man, it's I like when I just don't want artists doing that stuff just because they're just trying to get it, because it's extra clicks for people. Like, oh, so and so can sing. Oh, so and so can rap. If it's something that's really in them and they've always loved to do, like Ed Sheeran actually said he likes rap, he would do it. And there's always been some artists that can blend it a little bit. Like,
didn't Jamie Foxx put him on? Didn't he used to tour with Jamie Foxx or something?
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, there's a good example there. Someone we don't think of as a musician. That dude is pretty talented. He can sing. He can rap if he wants to. He can do whatever he wants, really. That's such a talented human being.
Jamie Foxx is absolutely, I think, he's definitely one of those guys that, because you know him for one thing, and it's the same, and it's almost like Eddie Murphy had to crawl for Jamie Foxx to fly.
Right. Like Eddie Murphy, like is the kind of like he would joke sing, but they're like, damn, he can actually sing. But then, even though at the time it was kind of, I don't know how serious we took it, but when I go back and every time I hear it, my girl likes to party all the time. I don't know. It's so corny, but it's so catchy at the same time. You can't help but like it. I don't know. I always like it when I hear it.
It's funny because I watched the podcast. First off, I didn't even know that Sean Stockman of Boys to Men has a podcast now, right? Okay. But he had Johnny Gill on there to talk about old stories, and he was telling, and Sean actually was the one that brought it up. There was a story that he brought up that Eddie Murphy was on the piano playing like classical music.
Right.
And he was like, well, I didn't know that you were able to do this. And Johnny basically seconded that and was like, well, people don't know that Eddie Murphy was part of an R&B group back in the day. Okay. So he's really like a singer. It's not just like I do jokes and I got a little bit of a voice, so I'm a exploit that. Nah, he was like, that's the first thing that he fell in love with. It's just the comedy thing took over and became the cash cow for him.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, well, now we don't want to hear your music. We just want to hear you crack jokes.
All right. Yeah, and that's the lane I think Jamie Foxx fell into. That's how, even though he had that talent his whole life, he was known for something else first.
Yeah, because if Jamie Foxx was definitely like immediately on the scene with the funny.
Yeah.
And then when you heard, it's a lot of them are like that. Tommy Davidson is the same way. Tommy Davidson can actually sing.
Yeah.
But he only exploits it for the jokes. It's like,
right.
I will never put out the album. I will never do anything in terms of music. But if you want me to perform or do something on stage, I'm absolutely going to do it.
Yeah. And like, because if you think about it, that was kind of a modern problem. if you think about the old school days, that was part of the package of the whole variety show entertainers of like the 50s and 60s. That was normal for an entertainer to be that talented, that can sing, that can dance, that can be funny. Like the Sammy Davis and all those Rat Pack guys and all they would all do that stuff. It was part of the variety show thing. If you're an entertainer, that's just the whole package.
The whole package, yeah. I was just
being able to be a comedian, a singer, a musician, dancer, actor, everything. Now it's like everyone's like, oh, you got to specialize in this thing.
Right.
It's one or two things.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
That's why I don't get like when so many people get so surprised when like a movie actor, a famous actor that can sing, like they're always surprised at that when that's what they do when they come up. Musicals. It's music theater. That's how these actors come up. Most of them all know how to sing and dance. Like that's when you do the plays and the musicals in high school. Then they become like this famous movie actor. And you're like, oh wow, what's his name? Can sing. I'm like, yeah, I can sing. So I was part of being an actor back in the day, a Broadway actor, they all can sing. Now some can do it better than others.
Yeah. And that's life too. But let me ask y'all this. I had while y'all were talking about that, I something crossed my mind and just want to ask y'all in these last few minutes that we
do I ever cross your mind?
Anytime.
So,
but the Knicks and Celtics start at 7:30. So I just want to just ask y'all this real quick. What is the greatest biopic that you've ever seen? And it's okay for you to say one or two, like if another one comes to you, it's okay for you not to change your mind, just but to add to the conversation. But I'm just going to ask you, what's the greatest biopic or biopic, however you pronounce it? I want to start with DSJ. DSJ, what's the greatest biopic that you've ever seen? Like the most
a musician one or
musician? Yeah, for musician.
Oh, okay. So a musician one.
Yeah.
Because I immediately was going to say Malcolm X, but since we're sticking with music, I would probably say
Bob Barker one. You was going to say The Price is Right. That's what you were going to say.
Come on down. Now, I would probably say at the moment Ray.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my. It's because Jamie Foxx he like turned into him, bro. His performance is crazy. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Straight Outta Compton, technically,
is the GOAT.
That was a fire.
It has to be the GOAT.
That was a fire biopic right there.
And you didn't expect it to be the GOAT.
It was good.
It legitimately made Notorious look like a Tubi movie. Off rip, you did not expect Get Out of Compton to be that good.
That was the best rap movie ever, and it was based on it was real. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff was glorified a little bit, obviously. I think The Doors too was another good one.
Classic.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Shout out to Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, he just died.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He became Jim Morrison for that.
Bro, you legit couldn't tell a difference.
Yeah.
You legit couldn't tell a difference, bro. Now you don't even, when you look at the Doors, you don't even look at Jim Morrison the same, bro. You look at like,
hey, Val Kilmer was just like,
yeah, like,
he actually sang. They say he sang a lot of the parts for that movie too.
Did John get to see the Elton John one?
I didn't see that one yet.
I didn't see that one though.
I like the actor that did that though.
Did y'all see the Elvis one yet?
I ain't seen that one yet either, but I've been wanting to see it.
I saw clips of it. I wasn't really interested. I've seen one of the Elvis ones before. Plus, I mean, I've seen Elvis act, so it's like, what more can you tell me that I haven't seen from? I know people don't remember like actors' names like that, but Dale Midkiff did one back in the '90s about Elvis, and I thought it was pretty good. But it was like, what more can you tell me that I haven't seen off of that?
I mean, technically, isn't 8 Mile a biopic too?
Yeah.
By Eminem.
Yeah, it was about his life. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, straight out of Compton, Bohemian Rhapsody too. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
that one.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That was, I think that's one of Rami Malek's best performances ever.
Yeah, that was pretty fire.
Yeah.
Y'all so disrespectful, bro. I'm gonna name two. I'm gonna name two, and when I name them, y'all gonna be like, "Oh yeah, bro."
The one that
Crush
made
Groove.
everyone. I know which one he's gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, "What's love got to do with it?"
I knew he was gonna
That was
say
good.
that.
Bro,
I was gonna say the one that really made everyone hate Ike even
Yeah.
more.
Bro, how do
And
you?
Lawrence Fishburne, everyone hated that for the longest time.
Yeah, man. How do we even start the conversation without saying the Temptations movie?
Oh, yeah, that one was pretty.
Bro, come man. And I don't have a hidden list. I don't have a hidden list. I just want to say just a couple, right? Just a couple just off the top of the dome. Anybody saw the Chadwick Boseman one? What's the one about James Brown?
I saw that one.
Get on up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Get on up.
That was good.
Yeah, man.
I saw it. I wasn't impressed by that one the same way I was with Ray.
Right.
And I think the depth of what Jamie had to do to get in character was more impactful to the movie, because I mean, it's one thing to sit there and, okay, I can play blind, but to actually go through the process of becoming blind.
Right.
And still have the same skill set to still be able to put on the whole performance of even acting like him. You know, the little ticks, the little movements, the voice inflections. Yeah, I'm gonna let it do what it do, baby. Like all that, all that embodiment.
Right.
And you're doing that with the deficit of being blind. And looking like Ray, like it's the man, like you see Ray, you see Jamie Foxx, and you don't think, oh yeah, he kind of favors. Nah, I thought it was bad casting until the movie came out, and it's like, okay, I'll shut my mouth.
Like one dude is super tall, the other dude is average height. Like the person you do the movie about is tall, right? Like when you see Ray Charles and Quincy Jones in a picture, you're like, dang, Ray Charles must have been like 6'4", right? And then you see Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is what, like average height, whatever. And you're like, dang, he played a man that tall, bro, and he killed it, right? But Ray to me is probably a top 20 biopic of all time. I don't know if it's the GOAT, right? I like Straight Outta Compton because you take these actors and all of a sudden, see, Ray, in my opinion, at the time that it came out, nothing else was really in the movie. So when you saw it, you was like, if this movie is bad, the whole year movies is bad. And then Ray kind of saved the day, kind of. But the Straight Outta Compton movie, think about all the bad rap biopics that had come out, and you're like, oh my God, this is gonna be bad. Because Notorious was decent, right? Notorious was decent, but it wasn't great, right? And I expected the movie to be great, right? But people get rap movies wrong all the time. Like the movies about our culture always, bro. Y'all ever saw that movie Belly?
Yeah.
You see how movies about our culture are always get done wrong, and like that. And so with Notorious, I'm like, Notorious was headed down that path, but the actors and the story saved it.
Yeah.
Right. But when you put Straight Outta Compton, I was like, first of all, a lot of us East Coast dudes don't really understand the West Coast dudes. So even though we're all in the same culture, they're on like a different side of the culture. So a lot of the stuff that they go through, we don't understand. And it's like sometimes things are lost in translation. And so, but when the movie came out, we were like, wait a minute. This joint is actually pretty good. You know, and so that movie, The Temptations, I think is probably La Bamba was probably the standard bearer because there were movies like Great Balls of Fire and movies like that we probably didn't understand.
Oh, you know what?
The Buddy Holly story.
Yeah.
Walk the Line is another one.
Well, but to me,
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, but to me, Coach, that is the standard bearer for people. For me, the standard bearer is Lady Sings the Blues, right? Because I didn't, bro. When I was watching the movie, bro, I didn't
know
even
that was about the person.
I didn't know it was about Billie Holiday, and I'm including Purple Rain in this. I think Lady Sings the Blues, in a way, is better than Purple Rain, even though Purple Rain probably had more relative music. But Lady Sings the Blues, like the actor, man, Billy D. Williams, like, man, the way you hear Billy D. Williams talk in that movie, bro, you're like, bro, you can't get no better than this. And Billy D. Williams he wasn't a nobody, but he wasn't Sidney Poitier or James Earl Jones at the time. He's like kind of like how Mahershala Ali is compared to Michael B. Jordan right now, right? So he wasn't like that, but he turned that into something, bro. That's my so Coach. Did you see the Johnny Cash movie, the Walk the Line movie?
Yeah.
Was
that
it?
was another one where what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix. He like became that dude, you know. Like he's a method actor, you know.
Is he better than Al Pacino? You can be honest.
Nah. Al Pacino.
You don't think so?
Nah. And trust me, it ain't about age or Al Pacino or Joaquin Phoenix got another 20 films to go.
What's Joaquin Phoenix top two characters, you think?
Well, Joker. Well, the way he plays in that dude's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Coach, I don't know. I think he might have Al, bro, because the way he played Joker was crazy.
I mean, now Al Pacino did some stuff when he's older that's a little, you know, stereotype, cliche stuff. But
Heat was like stereotype.
His early to middle career stuff is just crazy.
Devil's Advocate, he's like.
You know what's so funny though? As you say this,
like, no, I was saying like with Al Pacino, real quick. The last dude I would think of is being able to play a head coach in a pro football league was Al Pacino. But he made me like that speech he makes in it. I mean, he made it believable. Like the whole, like the way that was like a little late in his career gem. Like that movie's pretty fire. Like a lot of
it should have been trash. It should have been trash.
Yeah, it should have been, and it had some trash set up. Like it could, but it's one of those ones where I keep going back to it. Like, damn, that was pretty good. Like Jamie Foxx was believable as a young QB, and Dennis Quaid was the old. Like the stories it told was some real like, and you had Lawrence Taylor still look like he could play.
Yeah,
he was pretty much playing himself.
He was playing a dude. I don't know if y'all remember this football player, but he was playing a dude called Hacksaw Reynolds. He used to play linebacker for the 49ers back at the early 49ers, like the Joe Montana 49ers, they had Hacksaw Reynolds and Keena Turner and Ronnie Lott, a young Ronnie Lott on the defense and all of that. Michael, whatever his name, I forget the dude's name, right? But coach, that movie, yeah.
I mean, as far as football movies go, I mean, yeah, there was some stuff that's kind of me being a football guy, like who played too.
It was kind of whack.
There was some whack things, but the behind the scenes parts of it were fire. Like
what
football
year
stuff.
That movie came out in 99, 98.
Wow. Like about
99, 2000.
Bill Bellamy was a receiver. Cool J was a running back. You know,
they were like, we need to get a pretty boy at receiver to play the role. And it was, they got Bill Bellamy.
But no, that was. I mean, Oliver Stone knows what he's doing.
We need to do vibes on great movie producers. If y'all into movie producers and such.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. But I was gonna say, as far as the comparison between Joaquin Phoenix and Al Pacino, I think Phoenix is a better actor.
Yeah, I think.
But I think Al Pacino makes better movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he makes the movies that
Carlito's Way, bro. Oh my god.
Carlito's. I mean,
yeah, because I think about like he is like a go-to movie of mine. And I know that people disagree. I know you disagree with it, but Scarface is forever like.
Oh yeah. Well,
the ultimate.
The movie is better than his fake Cuban, Colombian or whatever it was, like accent. And all that.
Can I say this, bro? And promise me that y'all won't come to my house and try to drag me outside.
I know you don't like the movie.
Wow. Heat is trash, bro.
Did you say Heat is trash?
Heat is trash.
Bro, come on, man.
Yeah, coach, listen, coach, hit me out on the door.
No,
bro.
Now you go in Isley Brothers lane now.
No, I'm not. Listen to the reason why I'm saying it, bro. Look at Robert De Niro running out the bank with the duffel bags. Bro, do you know how much money weighs, bro? Those bags are 600 pounds.
Now you're doing moves
and one across his shoulder.
At the end of the day,
there's an NFL offensive line on his body, and he's running down the street with loafers on.
And that was De Niro in his late 40s. You know when he.
What are we talking, bro? Now, does Heat have like excellent scenes in it? Man, listen, the diner scene is fantastic. The diner scene is maybe a top 100, a top 1,000 cinema scene of all time if you take into account all the movies that have ever been made. Right, the scene at the airport, right? When Pacino was out there in the dark, you're like, this is like, because you know what's gonna happen there, right? But they don't just get straight to it, right? When my man has to make the decision whether he keeps his life or go be with that girl, and the line he been saying, you have to make sure in order not to be caught, you got to do, and then he actually gets caught up in that. And he makes the decision to keep his life, even though he loved that girl. Bro, I'm telling you, there were great scenes in it, bro. But the shootout scene was realistic, but running out the bank, bro. Come on, coach. You know you lift weights, bro.
That's one. Yeah, I get it. I know. I thought the same thing, but
I'm not gonna beat up a movie off of technicalities and realism because it's still a movie. I mean, like it's still supposed to be rooted in some level of fantasy. So.
But it's not just that. Remember the scene at the airport before that? Remember the scene where they had the sniper looking down at everybody when they making the thing, and the sniper is there up on the thing, and he can look down on everybody, and they meeting right in the middle. Come on, bro. You know that's not realistic, bro. Because because the thing is with a killer, you can't unteach a killer how not to be a killer, bro. If the kill shot is there, it's already taken. It's an instinct. Right? You ain't gonna tell that dude to not, you know what I'm saying? It's like telling a singer to listen to this great song and not to get in the moment and want to sing, bro. It's innate. It's in your DNA. There were too many parts of that movie where I'm like, man, this thing is going back and forth like a cameo song, bro. From greatness to whackness. And to be honest, everybody knows it. It's the reason why we don't put Heat up there as a top 10 movie of all time, because in this movie, you have too many of those scenes that drag it down. Right? Y'all know it's great scenes.
Sometimes the ensemble of the cast and sometimes the acting and the dialogue is great, but the movie don't always hold up.
Right.
Like, I know what you're saying. But like, that's what Heat was like. Heat was like, maybe the whole premise and the way it was laid out, the screenplay wasn't the greatest, but the performers carried the movie.
And you've been wanting De Niro and Pacino together for how long? Like at least 5 years before. Bro, you had been wanting De Niro and Pacino in a movie for
Well, they did in The Godfather, but it was not a lot of it.
Right.
Part 2, I think, whatever. But you ever see The Insider? With Russell Crowe and Al Pacino?
I think so. I don't remember.
Ooh, you got that's bro. You got to look at The Insider. That's
try. I'm gonna tell you a movie that I think had less of a budget, and to me is better than it. It's a movie called The Untouchables with Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
To me, that's a better movie than Heat because it has all the mini dialogue. They have all the mini dialogues throughout the movie, and you know what's coming. Like, bro, you knew as soon as Sean Connery went to them and let everybody know that he was on the side of justice, you knew Sean Connery days was numbered. Right? You knew it, right? You knew it, right? And then throughout the movie, they would always put him in these little spots. And you're like, oh, they get ready to get him right now. They get ready to get him right now. And they never got him in those moments.
Right.
And then when you thought Sean Connery could make it to the end of the movie, maybe he could survive, they catch him in the house by himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm saying when I say Heat is whack, I'm not saying Heat is a bad movie in a sense that the whole thing is but there were too many. Remember Val Kilmer? And y'all remember Heat when Val Kilmer was in the car on the street, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God. Right. That right there could have been done different. You remember the little girl in the movie? Remember the little girl in the movie? They gave her so many parts in the movie, and then they never tied up her storyline in the movie. Right. And then at the end of the movie, you like, well, if her storyline had nothing to do with it, why was she even here?
But see, I get why. Like in terms of her correlation in that movie was to tie. It was more to tell Hannah's side of the story, like who Detective Hannah was outside of the, you know what I'm saying, the law enforcement that basically ruled his life. Like, okay, what do you do outside of law enforcement? You failed at marriages, but somehow you still find a way to connect to that little girl.
See, but that's why I disagreed a little bit because it wasn't that Hannah was bad at marriages. He was bad at all relationships on every level because he never put anything into them because he put all of his energy into being a great detective. Right. And so that's why when they put the girl in the movie, I'm like, why is she in the movie if Hannah was not going to have a moment of reckoning and get better, or the girl was going to hate him forever and leave? Right?
But I see, here's the thing, though. I think that in terms of that situation, I think that it showed the dynamic of exactly that. Because remember, in the very beginning, he was so concerned about where the father was and basically castrated the father as a deadbeat, and basically was like, okay, well, you know what? I'll be the father that he'll never be. I recognize that from jump, he ain't gonna be a good father. So I'll do my best version of that for you. And then when he went to the scene where Waingro killed the other girl,
Right.
you saw the compassion, and it almost correlated to, okay, well, does he see that same little girl that he's helping to raise in this girl that's now laying here victim, which adds to the dynamic of why he has to be who he is and why those sacrifices that he makes in his relationships matter even more.
Okay.
So for me, just in the conversation, that's why I felt like her character, because initially I thought that she was just a whiny brat.
Right.
First time I saw it, I felt the exact same way. This is a whiny, like I could have done without her.
Let me say this though. The point that you just made right now changed my whole concept of the detective just based on your perspective of it. Now, mind you, I probably watch that Heat movie like once every 3 or 4 years or whatever. Right. Like I'm not a huge fan of, I'll watch it. I think it's a great movie. But what you just mentioned there about dynamics is the best word to put it. I don't know if you use the word dynamic or but the dynamics between individuals and the way a dynamic between individuals can impact people directly involved, people adjacent, and people that are just onlookers. So so I'm glad you mentioned that in a way, because you know what, now that you say that, it made me want to go back and watch the movie again to watch just for the thing that you just said. Because I never thought about it like that. I always thought about that movie as 2 moving parts, right? De Niro and Pacino. And then the supporting actors, I always looked at them as y'all getting in the way of this collision that's going to happen by the end of the movie. So by you mentioning that, it made me want to go back and look at this movie with more sensitive eyes. I guess I'll say it.
And if you think about it, De Niro and Al Pacino didn't even have that much on screen.
Right.
Not together.
They only had that couple minutes there.
Yeah.
But I also got to say too, I think another element that I loved about the movie was the intelligence that was never really spoken about, and being able to not only pull these heists off, but even in the dynamic when they found out, okay, they know about us.
Yeah.
We're no longer under the radar. They know us. So when they went to the scene with the cargo and the loading docks,
right,
and they were pointing out all these things and all these places where De Niro was, Neil was basically pointing out like certain spots around the entire lot.
right.
And then all the detectives got together, and it's like, well, what are we looking at here? And the whole time it's setting them up so that way we can finally see who we're up against.
Right.
To me, was genius.
And then, like, how De Niro, he lived by that code.
Yeah.
Don't let yourself get attached to anything you're not willing to walk out on. Like 30 seconds.
Yep.
And then he started having his own conflict with Eddie, right? Or something.
I think that's her name.
Edie.
Right?
Yeah.
Edie, yeah. And he begins to want something more. And then he had like that inner struggle going on with his own code. And then
she didn't want to change her life at first either. Now,
right?
Remember, he had to coax her into that.
Mm-hmm.
And De Niro's a simp, bro. Every time I see De Niro with a woman, bro, he always come across like a simp, bro.
Yeah. And I mean, he did break it though in the end. That's why.
Yeah, he did.
That's what cost him.
I'll never want to see De Niro. Even in Meet the Fockers, bro. De Niro's a simp, bro.
Wow.
I will say he was definitely a simp in the movie The Score.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Maybe I just got to think for heist movies or something like that, because I I always enjoyed it, but I was like, okay, you know what? Because it's Angela Bassett, maybe I'll forgive it.
Yeah.
But this is definitely simping behavior.
Yeah. This
I mean,
is definitely
I
symptomatic.
I think though, if that movie was based on a real dude, like De Niro's part, the guy that was really like De Niro in that, he would have chose that free because he could have got away.
Yeah.
Like he almost got away.
Yeah.
Then he just like, you know what? Nah, fuck that.
Right.
And then revenge kicked in. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's what did him in, you know.
Yeah.
But I think I think the element of that was because of what happened to Trejo. Because the
Right.
fact of the matter was, like, none of that would have, like, even the fact that he still was loyal enough to say, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Right.
I know how much is the last line that he said was, the last thing I wanted to do was let you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he takes off, gets off the payphone and pulls it, and oddly enough is able to pull in somebody else. But just in that, how close knit they were together, where even the whole, like, I didn't owe that death. You know what I'm saying? You essentially ratted us out. You know what I'm saying, because you were tortured.
Yeah.
And they tortured your lady. You know what I'm saying? So they basically had to, coerce it out of you. You still had enough love and support from me to do you that service of taking you out in this world, so you didn't have to go through life like a vegetable.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is, in a weird way, because of the way Pacino's character was, he was so obsessed, and he was like the law version of what De Niro was with crime. So he felt like he was kind of forced to kill the only person that truly understood him. You know what I'm saying? Like he felt like after when they talked and everything, that De Niro was one of the only people that really understood what he was like and his obsession.
Like Luke and Darth Vader.
Yeah,
right?
Respect.
The only two with those innate instincts and power, those are the only two that can understand each other, right? But one is on one side and one is on the other. But the thing about the sides is you don't know which side is the side of truth, because it depends on what your personal experiences in life are as the viewer to which side you're on. Like when I watched Heat, I always felt like De Niro was the good guy, right?
Right.
You come up in this thing, you see your family members go through this thing, they get treated wrong. These banks are out here with all this money. There's people out here, your people out here starving. These certain people keeping the money away from everybody else. And then you come across as like the Robin Hood guy. But then on the other side, you're like, yo, we need law and order, because without law and order is anarchy. You can't live your life. You can't even walk home from work without your life being tested. All these. So depending on how you viewed life, the person you preferred would be easy for you to identify with or like, right? Like just like American Gangster, how you viewed Frank Lucas, right? Do you view Frank Lucas as a hero of our neighborhoods, or is he the guy pushing drugs in our family members' veins, right? It depends on how you view things. So, but on that note, everybody, I want to say, man, every time we get together and have these conversations, it seems like the time fly by, bro.
No.
Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow vibes.
Yeah,
Please subscribe and hit the like button. Just want to say also, thank you to Coach. Thank you to Triborough. Thank you to DSJ. Thank you to everybody who came through and rocked. I'm going to try to do these more often. I don't know what the time slot will be, but I'm going to try to have these conversations more often so that we can break down culture and music and movies and our experiences and how they all relate to our everyday lives and how what we say and view and push forward impacts the culture. Hopefully vibes and stuff helps or is a purveyor of the culture. And want to thank the walking encyclopedia, the Triborough Gigolo. Want to thank my my twin brother coach, the R&B sensation, DSJ. Man, want to thank everybody. We're gonna get out of here, y'all, because the game start in like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So
if y'all want to come over, we'll be over there at Playback TV.
Playback
we'll
TV.
Watch along.
Yeah, man. Y'all want to say anything before we get out of here?
Thanks for having me. I will always love being on here. You know, salute to Coach and DSJ and everybody watching.
Right.
Much love and respect to all y'all, both you guys on the panel.
Hey, for sure.
Peace, love, and happiness.
And to the other family too. DSJ, I got to start doing this. Salute to True Music, Quick Tempered, Dark Gable, aka Soulfinger, IKBM Dre, Knicks for Life, Chuck Allen, Corey Lee, Ala Wise, King Ribby, Boulevard 73, aka Boulevard Rod, and a whole host of others that make this channel go. Also check out Triborough Gigolo, That Ain't Rap podcast, and make sure y'all watch Red's reviews, subscribe to the channel, and everything, man. And we're gonna get out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.